course. All right, now you guys can hear me. Good morning, good morning. Sorry about that. I'm sorry. How are you guys doing? I'm a little bit sick, by the way, which is why my voice is kind of, sucks. Yeah, the sound's coming. The sound's coming. Oh, man, today's been quite a day. All right, now it's good. Range Rover, what's up in the chat? Zach Wolf, what's up? Tossman, what's up? Mike's, what's up? We have a lot of things to talk about today. We have inflation that we've got to get to. The announcement will be coming at 10 a.m., by the way. Sorry I have to make you guys wait 45 minutes, but it's not up to me, actually. That's why the announcement has to wait. But until then, we're going to be talking about some inflation stuff. Some crazy inflation stuff. So inflation is 8.5%. No, I don't have COVID, John. I don't have COVID. I hope I don't have COVID. No, it's not COVID. It's not even a fever. It's just like literally, I think I walked outside and it was like cold and I didn't wear a jacket and like it caught my throat. So nothing too crazy. But yesterday I like slept the whole day. It was one of the first days in a long time that I slept the whole day. So that's what was going on. But I'm here now. Morning, Amit. No sauna button pushes today. Appreciate you, Glitch Life. That shirt, bro, the shirts are fire. I went to Macy's over the weekend. I went to the mall over the weekend for the first time in a long time, and I bought some shirts. I opened a Macy's credit card. I got 20% off. You know what was so sad? I found this amazing shirt that had flowers on it. It was like orange and black. It was such a good shirt. And I thought it was 60% off because it was in the 60% off section. And I get the shirt to the register, and they give me full price. I'm like, wait a second, it's supposed to be 60% off. They're like, no, this one is not. I'm just like, she's like, you can get 20% off though with the new credit card. I was like, yeah, but that shirt would still be $40. I'm not paying $40 for a shirt. Like, my limit is $25 on a shirt. At this point, I can't stomach paying $40 for a shirt. It's just a shirt at the end of the day. So we got some new shirts. We're gonna have some new designs. Tesla stock. Tesla pre-market is actually up 2% for some reason. So Tesla's at 1,000, even though it's showing that Tesla's at 975 because pre-market it's up. But a lot of other stocks are down right now. So inflation is the big topic. If we look at the watch list, we have some green, a lot of red. Tesla is, or not Tesla, inflation is 8.5%. Pretty bad. The producer price index, the PPI, is going to come out tomorrow. And why that's important is because the PPI basically determines like if inflation is peaking or not. So for example, the CPI is bad, right? Prices are going up to 8.5%. But the market kind of knew that was going to happen already because the Russia war that happened and the Russian like logistics and supply chains problem obviously put a lot of strain on prices. As a result of that, prices obviously had to go up, right? Because supply chains are screwed. Now, the PPI determines how much producers are willing to increase their prices on their actual goods as well. So it's not just a question of what consumers are willing to pay, but if producers are increasing their prices. And that dropped last month, even though inflation went to 7.9%. So that kind of showed you that maybe this is a peak for inflation because the PPI is going down. Now, the problem is since last month, we had a whole Ukrainian invasion, which presumably, messes up the entire scale, messes up the track we were on. So tomorrow when we get the PPI numbers, it may actually show that things are getting worse than better. And we're going to see that. Drew, you didn't miss the announcement. Announcement's at 10 a.m. I went to American Dream Mall last weekend. Okay, very cool. So that's kind of what we're doing with inflation. Let's pull up some CNBC stuff on inflation. Let's read through how they're thinking of it. It's obviously pretty bad, right? It's not good. So consumer prices rose 8.5% in March, slightly harder than expected, and the highest since 1981. That's kind of the kicker. Since 1981. I mean, that's kind of insane, bro. For the past 40 years, we haven't had inflation the way we're having it today. Prices that consumers pay on everyday items surged in March to their highest level since early days of the Reagan administration. The CPI, which measures everything, jumped 8.5%, above even the already elevated Dow Jones estimate for 8.4%. Now, most people are saying, look, inflation is actually at 10%. Like, it's been at double digits for the past 6 months now, real inflation. But this is sort of the corporate number that we're getting. The data reflected price increases not seen in the U.S. since the stagflation days of the 1970s and early 80s. Core inflation appeared to be ebbing, rising 0.3%, less than the 0.5% estimate. So, like, inflation, even though it increased, it didn't increase at the craziest level that we thought it would increase, but it's still pretty bad. Now, the White House prepared for this. Biden does not want to look bad. By the way, I don't know if this guy is getting reelected with this inflation. I mean, like, the midterms, I think, it's inevitable. The Democrats are not winning. And just doing pure economic analysis, when inflation is this high, it's hard for me to imagine that the country would want the same regime in place. So Biden's been trying to prepare for this, and Jen Psaki has been trying to prepare for this, who's the press secretary, by basically saying, look, it's not our fault. It's not, it's not us. It's Russia. And so they're trying to use Russia as a cover, which is understandable, but nonetheless, I mean, this inflation stuff was bad before Russia. So it's rough right now. Still, due to the surge in inflation, real earnings, despite rising 5.6% from a year ago, still weren't keeping pace with the cost of living, which means even if your wages went up 5.6%, your cost of living increased, right, because of the nature of inflation. So it's bad. So how do we solve this, right? That's the question. To combat inflation, the Federal Reserve has begun raising interest rates and is expected to continue doing so for the remainder of the year. Now, when interest rates go up, stocks go down. That's just the way it is. And I guess we're going to see over the next couple of years, a couple of years, how bad things get and how bad stocks get and how low stocks can actually get. Because that's going to be the interesting part. Now some numbers. Food rose 1% for the month, 8.8% for the year. Ground beef, citrus fruits, fresh vegetables, all that stuff, around 2% in March. Energy prices up 11% and 32%. Makes sense because of Ukraine. Gas prices dropped 18% for the war. That's really good. In February March it was at its height. Now I saw my gas was at $3.99 a gallon, down from like $4.30, which is good, right? So we have a little bit more supply, allowing the demand or allowing the prices to go down, but still pretty bad. I mean, gas prices were like $3.05 or like $2.90 at one point. So inflation is bad. That's the summary. The question is, how bad can it be? And the real interesting part to this is just growth stocks, right? Like, this is the thing that I think it's hard to understand, is like, how bad are growth stocks going to be? They're already down more than 70-80%. So when you tell me, inflation's going up, interest rates are rising, can't they go lower? Can Palantir be a $5 stock because of this? I mean, that's the question. Can it be a $5 stock? I don't know. Like, it's really hard to imagine that the market would allow these assets that are growing at, insane rates, like Palantir, for example, 40% year over year, Snowflake, 100% year over year, like, for them to drop to such horrible rates. But if the S&P gets down to 3,800, which is what most people are saying is needed for a full reset on the economy, then that, I mean, they would have to come down. There's no way Palantir can be at $20 when the S&P is 380, right? It's just not what's going to happen. So we're going to see how that goes. Now, Robinhood is allowing us to trade 4 new stocks, or 4 new tickers. Shiba Inu, I just got the notification. I don't know if any of you guys got the notification. Shiba Inu is now available on Robinhood. It is up 26% because it's on Robinhood. This is kind of insane. And Polygon, Solana, that's the big one. Solana's at $108. Wow, Solana was at 200 at one. Yeah, in December Solana was 250. Oh my, Solana's down. You're gonna see some uptick in Solana and Shiba Inu, that's for sure. Now Robinhood is up 4% in pre-market, so this news is not gonna explode Robinhood, but at least it's up a little bit because of this. It's simple. I moved to Switzerland. Here we pay no capital gains tax. Yeah, Larry, the problem is Switzerland's pretty expensive though. Like, from what I understand, Switzerland is not cheap. I was watching a video on it a while ago. Palantir is fine if you hold 5 to 10 years. Inflation, stock crash is an opportunity. I agree. The stock market is an indicator of rich people's feelings. Yeah, pretty much, Drew. Pretty much. Market open in 3 minutes. Oh, 115 people. The bell will go off. I'm warning you now. So in 3 minutes, get ready. We are going to see how bad the market turns out. And then at 10 a.m., we have a special announcement. It's going to be a fun announcement. I think you guys are you're going to enjoy the announcement. It's going to be fun. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. It's nothing that crazy. I'm not selling anything. I'm not offering anything. But I think you guys might enjoy it. So we'll see in 30 minutes what's going on. Shopify did a 10-to-1 stock split yesterday. This was, for lack of a better word, marketing. Amazon did a stock split. Google did a stock split. Tesla is doing a stock split. I think Shopify was like, our stock is in the gutter. We probably need to do a stock split, right? It seems like they pretty much determined that they had to do that. Now, the reason they probably had to do that was because Shopify stock, by the way, was at 1,700 at one point. I need to turn off Slack. I don't know if you guys are seeing that, but it probably... Look, so Shopify was at 1,700. I mean, this is kind of insane. 1,700, and now it's down to this one. By the way, you guys probably know the announcement if you've been seeing the Slack messages. If it's showing... Oh, wait, no, it's not showing up because my face covers it. Perfect. Yeah, my face is covering it. I can see it right now. All right, legit. So you guys can't see the announcement. Okay, cool. So Shopify was at 1,700 all the way down to 600. Now they were down at like 5.8. Look at this, 522 in March. They did that stock split announcement. It got them up like about, I don't know, 10-15%. But I don't think a stock split is going to save Shopify. Now Shopify is a phenomenal business, by the way. It's a great business. I mean, I think that the business model is amazing. But the valuation was just tough, man. Valuation was just tough on Shop. At $1,700, it's just like it didn't have room to grow. And like that's the thing I'm learning as like a new investor, that like sometimes valuations are really just too much, and like things have to come back to earth. We are 1 minute away from the market open. We're gonna see how the market goes up. Either we go up or down. We're about to see. Do we go up or do we go down? How does the market react to this inflation news? I think there's a chance we go up, or at least there's a chance we don't go massively down. But ultimately, we're going to see how these things play out. In 1 minute, the fate of the universe is determined. Boom! It's live. We're open. Wake your ass up. Stock market is open. Okay, a lot of green. Look at this. I mean, you guys can see it on the screen. Lots of green. ETH is up, Bitcoin is up. Now, Bitcoin's been down and ETH has been down pretty badly. We'll talk about that. They're under 40K. ETH is under 3K, but still, it's not bad. Tesla is up 20 points. Amazon is up 20 points. Like everything's up. This is green. Look at this. There's not a single red. Baba is up. Snapchat's up. Let's go to Palantir. Wow, Palantir's up 4%. Wait, can someone explain this? What the hell? Why is everything up? Like, Palantir could barely get into the 12s yesterday. I mean, it was going to 11. Now it's at 13. Why are we up 5% on the day? I mean, now is this like a really early dead cat bounce? Or like, what do you guys think? Was inflation not as bad as the market thought it would be? Because why is Palantir at $13.12 when yesterday it was at like $12.30? Like, why? How does that happen, Rain? How is it up 4%? I'm trying to like that's very interesting. Wow. I mean, I'm not complaining. Bitcoin right back up to 40. Wow, Bitcoin was under 39 all night, right back up to 40. ETH right back up to 3. Interesting. Very interesting. Why is this happening? I'm actually lost. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little lost. I'm a little lost. Someone said the bell is loud. Yes, the bell is loud. Amit's got a fever, and the only prescription is more cowbell. That's why I couldn't live stream yesterday, because like I literally got up and I was like, first of all, I can barely talk right now. You guys can hear the mucus in my throat. Unfortunately, I'm sorry for that. But I got up yesterday. I was up and I was like, should I live stream? And I was like, I don't even think I can think right now, and I just went back to sleep. The core CPI increase is lower. Yeah, that's true. I mean, that could be a reason for this. Like, it's 0.3% instead of 0.5%. But I don't know if that's enough to, like, get the market this excited. I mean, maybe? Maybe. I mean, it's because macro trends. This is due to CPI being better than expected, so the Fed doesn't have to adjust rates. Yeah, I mean, yes, I agree with you. The core inflation is lower, guy. I'm not saying that that's wrong. I'm just saying, like, I don't know, 0.3 to 0.5, is that enough to like make the market that happy? Maybe it is. I was expecting the market not to be that happy with 8.5. Now, again, if core inflation is lower, the PPI tomorrow should also give a lot of insight. Because if the PPI is also a lot lower than we think it is, then I think we might actually be hitting a peak if the Russia-Ukraine stuff is also coming to an end. Because if that stuff doesn't come to an end, then it's going to be rough. Google below 2,600. Oh, no, never mind. Google's up 2,600. Google's up. Google's at 2618. It was at 225 for like a second. White House purposely made expectations bad so the market would zoom higher. Someone in there is buying call options. Well, the White House didn't make expectations bad. I mean, they said it was going to be 8.5%. So it's like they stayed true to that. But core inflation, I guess, shocked people. The White House just didn't want blame for this. By the way, let me just tweet this link, guys, that I'm live right now. The White House didn't want blame for this. That's the important thing. And as a result, they were able to kind of get away with this. So, yeah, it's interesting. Interesting. I guess that's what saved us. This core inflation number saved the market today. I guess that's it. Emmanuel, what's up? Chris is in the chat. Inflation equals higher interest rates by Fed equals bad for tech stocks. Yeah, exactly. So, like, I guess the core inflation wasn't that high, which means interest rates, the market is assuming, is not going to be as high as they thought it could. I mean, but the Fed has already been... That's why I'm... Like, the Fed has been so aggressive with rate hikes, for a good reason, by the way. I think they should be. And I think the market has been like, all right, we know it's going to come. Like, Palantir's at 12, maybe we go to 11, maybe we go to 9, but, like, we know it's already down so much. We know you guys are raising rates. We know inflation is not the best. We know the Russia-Ukraine situation is happening. That's why the sell-off over the past, like, 3 days, or yesterday, really, yesterday was the worst day. I mean, it's kind of silly at this point. I'm just like, the market knows everything is bad. Unless the market thinks there's some outlier that is going to lead to a recession, which uncertainty could be that general outlier. I get it. But like, the market seems to have understands what's going on, and quantitative tightening is happening. So the Fed's going to start selling $95 billion of bonds every month, which is going to take away liquidity from the market. So, like, the market is going to shrink in terms of the access to capital that exists. The question is, how much are valuations going to compress even more underneath that shrinkage, given how compressed they are? I'm not saying they can't get more compressed. I'm just saying, like, at one point, where else are you going to put your money? Like... Enphase is an amazing stock. 192 is a little expensive, but, you know, where else are you going to put your money if you want to get exposure to solar power? And Enphase is a stock that could 10x very easily, in my opinion, over the next 5-6 years. So, I mean, it's interesting. It's very interesting to think. Are you on Odyssey? No, this is Weeble. Crossroads says, think about what killed the bull run. Bernard from the Fed, the most dovish on that board, was talking about raising rates more aggressively. Only reason for collapse last week. This is a reversal. Yeah, that might be. But the problem with this being a reversal is, like, then, like, if it's not a reversal, then it was a bear market rally, as a lot of analysts were saying it might be. But if it's a reversal, then that means that it was just a hiccup by the Fed being a little bit more hawkish and an overreaction to comments, and now we're going to be back to normal, and we're going to continue with the bull market, which might happen, but also might not. Palantir back under 13, 1280. So we're cooling off a little bit, but yeah, it's interesting. Bitcoin is going to be the really interesting one that I'm curious to find out about. Bitcoin's at 40 grand. Bitcoin went to under 40 grand last night. And the weird thing about Bitcoin, guys, here's the weird thing. This kind of blew my mind. The Bitcoin conference was like last week, and the amount of media, I mean, let me show you the YouTube channel for this. The amount of media that was created off the Bitcoin conference was insane. I mean, you're talking about Jordan Peterson was here. Look at this. Eric Weinstein was here. The youngest Bitcoin coders. I mean, you had look at this, Jordan Peterson. You had Cathie Wood, Michael Saylor. You had guest after guest after guest after guest. You had Peter Thiel. You had so many people, so many big names creating media around Bitcoin. And then it tanks. And like that's the part that I'm really kind of confused by. Like why it's kind of showing me that the control of Bitcoin really is in the algorithms, just like the control of stocks are in the algorithms. Because when you have this much positive news, I mean, this is literally propaganda, and I don't say that in a negative way, but this entire conference was massive amounts of propaganda for Bitcoin. And it was good propaganda. I mean, there was like legitimate like analysis and really good stuff coming out here around why Bitcoin is amazing. Look at this. Andrew Yang is there. Like, this was just like, it was like, there was so much content coming out over the past week across all social networks on this Bitcoin conference. And it still dropped like $5,000. Now you could blame that on volatility, or you could say that like the media attention on Bitcoin isn't what actually moves it. It's something deeper than that. Because I don't understand how you get that much media attention and it still drops. Like, if anything, more and more retail should be buying in after, all the hype. It's just about being more excited about it. Like, you would at least see it go up a little bit than go down. But it just dropped right under 40. And so that was very interesting to me to see why, like who's actually selling. Because someone has to be selling for this to happen. And for those who say if a recession happens, recession happens and that's why Bitcoin's going to go up, I fundamentally disagree. I do not think Bitcoin is recession proof. I think if growth stocks were down over the past couple of days and Bitcoin had all this content coming out over social media and it still dropped, it seems like it's probably not recession proof. Like if we go down to 3,800 on the SPY, I don't think Bitcoin's going to do the inverse of that. Like it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. Chris makes a good point in the chat. COVID is up. COVID is rising. He says this might stop the Fed from rising rates. Interesting. And Chris works in the healthcare system. He's saying, I'm seeing a ton of new cases coming to the hospital in NY. The mayor has COVID. Well, the stuff that's going on in China is kind of insane. I don't want to talk about it too much yet because I'm a little bit uneducated on it. But there seems to be like a real crackdown on COVID to the point where they're locking people in their houses and people are like jumping out of their buildings because they don't have food. It's like it's some like dystopian stuff. And again, I don't want to speak on it because I don't have all the facts. But China's trying to get COVID on lock, and if COVID is rising, that would be not the best. Probably not the best. Darntons is in the chat. Bitcoin is not a hedge against inflation. I will be on his podcast today at 2 p.m. talking with him. Even though I'm sick, I'm gonna try to not sneeze as much. But Christian does not believe in Bitcoin at all, which is interesting. It's cool, I mean, I'm not saying I don't believe in Bitcoin or crypto. It's way too volatile for me. It's just way too volatile for my I can't afford to lose money in that. If we were in a more bullish market sentiment, I think we see Palantir 20. Oh, absolutely. I mean, at least it would be above 12. It would be like 15. Palantir was at 1470 or something last week. Like, we thought tides were a turning, and tides turned against us. But it's rough. Yeah, so like, again, the reason I'm spending time on crypto is because this was shocking to me personally. Like, it was really, really shocking. I could not believe that all of this content is coming out. Like, imagine Palantir had a 1 week long conference, and I guess it's going on even more today. And they got like the biggest speakers in the world to type up the stock. You think like the Palantir YouTubers are pumping the stock? Imagine having like, you know, like I don't know, Barack Obama or something talk about like it would just be insane, right? And like that's basically what happened for Bitcoin for a week and counting, and it's down. And it's like I don't get that. I don't understand that. Positive media is supposed to create more retail buying sentiment, and if Bitcoin is supposed to be against the macro level trends of growth stocks, Bitcoin is not supposed to react as badly as it's reacted yesterday with Palantir, because Palantir is a growth stock. So it's just really interesting. Like the sellers will sell. I mean, they don't care, right? People will sell this crypto if it doesn't make money, which I think goes against like the thesis of a lot of stuff some of the Bitcoin enthusiasts talk about. Now, long term, I still think Bitcoin is a buy, right? So if you're not looking on the day-to-day, this 40,000 probably will be a lot higher. But on the day-to-day, it's really interesting to talk about because it's very confusing how it's reacting. Roku's below 120. Let's look at Ark. And again, guys, sorry for the sniffling too much. It's just I haven't gotten sick in like a couple months, really, so it's new to me a little bit. Ark is at 60. It hit below 60 yesterday, so it was a little rough. I'm very bullish on ETH. The transactional speed and potential is incredible. I work in a firm. Money movement speed is very important. Yeah, I think ETH's money, like decentralized finance, seems to make a lot of sense, and that's where I think ETH can win. Even Solana can win. But it's just a question of like if it goes to 10K, like people are talking about tomorrow. It's like I don't know. In this environment, if ETH goes to like, remember Bitcoin was at 69 and ETH was at like 4,800 when everything when all equities were up. So when equities crashed, crypto crashed as well. And it's like, this is what I think the crypto enthusiasts, they don't talk about enough. It's like it performs just like a growth stock. And interest rates rising and inflation rising is not good for growth stocks. So if you care about your money not being stuck in something super volatile, and you're comparing crypto to growth stocks, crypto is probably not the place to put your money in. At least from my perspective for now. Let's look at Roblox. I haven't looked at Roblox in a while. Wow. Below 50. Cathie bought a whole lot of this bad boy. On the 1 month. Okay, so it's been below. It hit a high of 45. Damn. So Roblox really hasn't gotten that high in a while. Sorry about that. 3 months. Okay, so January was 89. Lowest was 36. And now it's at 43. Wow. That isn't... Solana's the opposite of decentralized. Okay, I didn't know that. I'm thinking all these cryptos are supposed to be decentralized, right? That's the point of crypto. Apparently not. Apparently not. Now, SoFi got hammered last week as well. It is not recovering because student loans got extended till August, and I think they're likely going to get extended until probably until the next year. I don't think inflation is getting better until 2020. I mean, student loans are getting started until 2023. Because like Biden moved it from January to May to now August. In August, if inflation doesn't get substantially better and interest rates are still going up, you know, do you think that Biden's going to be like at the end of August 31st when the midterms are about to start? Yeah, by the way, the Democrats are making you pay an extra $300 a month. It's not happening. It's not happening. So, and I'm just saying this not from a political perspective, but from like, you know, understanding how politics works. It means that student loans are probably not going to start until 2023 if they do. And that means SoFi is not going to benefit off of their student loan business at least for another year. So that means you either interpret it as it's time to accumulate on SoFi, or SoFi's screwed for a long time. Like, that's how you got to interpret this. This it's like one or two ways of how this is going down. SPY's at 444. SPY's struggling to stay green on the day. Tesla's at 1,000 though. That's great. I mean, Tesla was at 960 last night, so like, that's nice for Tesla to be going up. It's important that Tesla makes its ability. Tesla has the ability to keep going. By the way, guys, special announcement in 13 minutes. So for those that are here and clicked, in 13 minutes you will see the announcement, or you should see the announcement. As long as the thing is ready to be announced. But yeah, man, this is bad for. I mean, like, inflation is it's not amazing right now, and I guess we're seeing how stocks are reacting to it. Any stocks people are really into right now. Any stocks people are really, really into. Tom Nash is here. You can begin. Tom always just barges in. He's like, I'm here. It's time for the show. Special announcement in 13 minutes. Tom is actually going to be a part of the announcement. You guys are going to see. It'll be fun. It'll be interesting. So for all of you here, stay tuned. 13 more minutes. It's going to be a fun way to start your week, even though today's Tuesday. Unless massive technology improvements make direct impact on our existence in a major disinflationary way, we're not seeing this inflation drop in a long time. That's a very valid point. When you have massive amounts of technology innovate, you get deflation. You get a lot new types of technology actually decreasing the ability for workers to spend a lot of money, for companies to have to like it saves costs, it reduces the ability for us to have to spend on certain things, which means it decreases the things we have to spend money on at the end of the day, which leads to deflationary effects. This is Cathie's whole thesis on AI and blockchains and robotics. A lot of the fact that AI and the training costs for neural networks are going down by half every 2 years, like, that's going to be a deflationary effect. The question is, how insane is it going to be? And by the way, bringing up AI, I've got to show you guys this something. The best way to stay cool during market downturns is to have a really good job. Yeah, but like the wage growth with inflation is also the problem. Like, if your wage isn't growing with the inflation rate, then, you know, the cost of living still goes down. All right, have you guys seen this? This thing is insane. So this is a project from OpenAI. It's called DALL-E 2. I got to show you guys the video. It is absolutely insane. So before I show you the video, this AI network uses natural language processing, NLP, the stuff that like YouTube uses to recommend you a better video and stuff. And they've integrated millions of pictures into it to the point where you can type in any absurd word and it creates a picture for you. And it creates a phenomenal picture. And when I saw this, I literally thought, oh my goodness, this is going to replace like NFTs, kind of. Not from a technology perspective, but like, I thought NFTs, the value of it is like the art. Yes, it's the community and stuff, but it's like the art. And when you see this video, anyone can be a Picasso level artist. I think it's named after Salvador Dali. That's why they call it DALL-E. It's not out yet. You can join the waitlist, but like, let's just see the video. It's like actually insane. It's like ridiculous. So here's
Have you ever seen a polar bear playing bass?
Hold on one second.
Or a robot painted like a Picasso?
All right, let's play the video. Ready? This video is like absolutely insane.
Have you ever seen a polar bear playing bass? Or a robot painted like a Picasso? Didn't think so. DALL-E 2 is a new AI system from OpenAI that can take simple text descriptions like a koala dunking a basketball and turn them into photorealistic images that have never existed before. DALL-E 2 can also realistically edit and retouch photos. Based on a simple natural language description, it can fill in or replace part of an image with AI-generated imagery that blends seamlessly with the original. It's called in-painting. In January 2021, OpenAI introduced DALL-E, a system that could generate images from text, like this avocado armchair. DALL-E 2 takes the technology even further with higher resolution, greater comprehension, and new capabilities, like in-painting. It can even start with an image as an input and create variations with different angles and styles. DALL-E was created by training a neural network on images and their text descriptions. Through deep learning, it not only understands individual objects, like koala bears and motorcycles, but learns from relationships between objects. And when you ask DALL-E for an image of a koala bear riding a motorcycle, it knows how to create that or anything else with a relationship to another object or action. The DALL-E research has three main outcomes. First, it can help people express themselves visually in ways they may not have been able to before. Second, an AI-generated image can tell us a lot about whether the system understands us or is just repeating what it's been taught. Third, DALL-E helps humans understand how AI systems see and understand our world. This is a critical part of developing AI that's useful and safe. The technology is constantly evolving, and DALL-E 2 has limitations. If it's taught with images that are incorrectly labeled, like a plane labeled car, and a user tries to generate a car, DALL-E may create a plane. It's like talking to a person who learned the wrong word for something.
That's crazy, right? Like, tell me that's not absolutely insane. And Tom, I hate you. For a second, I saw his comment. He said, "Admit, we can see your other screen with the naughty pictures." And I looked at the screen. I was like, oh my God, can they actually see that screen? No, I'm just kidding. That screen is not open because I don't need naughty pictures. I do well for myself, if you guys know what I'm talking about. So, but yeah, Tom, you scared me for a second. Okay, anyway, that's kind of insane, right? That, like, so you can type in dog, like there was this one example of a girl walking up a cloud made of cookies. And, like, the thing this thing created, the image that it put out was just, like, mind-blowing. And I was like, oh my goodness, like, if it's that advanced, right? And you can put in any string of words and it can come up with it like 17,000 different variations on the image, and it's exactly what you wanted it to be. Like, it really poses an existential crisis for art to some extent. Because, like, art is, okay, I have an idea for the Mona Lisa, I'm gonna draw it, and it's iconic because no one else can make that. But if I have an idea for, like, a pretty girl, and I just type in pretty girl, and, like, out comes a pretty girl that's, like, and I could put, like, painted pretty girl, and now it looks like she's painted, like, I just made that just by typing something. Was that actually art, or was, like, the idea of typing the words into the AI DALL-E system, like, the actual art? Because at that point, the words are all that matters, because the AI thing is making the art for you. So it's a really, really interesting, just, like, incredibly interesting concept to me. And I was looking at it last night, like, damn, this is a unique idea. So I'm excited for when that comes out. Like, I'm on the when we're I want to get off the wait list and really see what that's like. AMD below $100, Nvidia almost below 200. Is this the right Nvidia? Am I on the right one? Let me make sure. Nvidia, NVDA. Oh no, never mind. Nvidia's at 225. They have, like, this other weird Nvidia on Weibo. So Nvidia's at 225. AMD is at under 100. I liked AMD at 80. That's when I think my buy price was. I don't know if we're gonna get to 80, but still, it is insane. What was she wearing, Amit? Was it on the other screen? There was no porn. Goodness. Not this early in the morning, guys. Come on. Like, we got a show to do. 5 minutes until the special announcement. Now, it depends on if the people that I'm working with on this announcement do their job in 5 minutes. Which I think they should be able to do. But it's a good announcement. I will announce it in 5 minutes regardless of if it's ready to show you guys. Anyone want to guess? What do you guess the announcement is? Anyone want to guess? Brian, thank you for the super chat. You said, think NTR can hit 150 with food inflation ripping. Let's go to NTR. So NTR was at 110. So you want NTR to go to 150. That would be, like, above a 20% increase. I don't know. I don't think food inflation is gonna rip NTR. Like, the other thing about NTR is, like, it's like gas prices, right? Like, gas prices went up to 140, then they came back down to reality. It's a very short-term trade if you're in it. I don't think inflation will be that bad where NTR goes to 150 because of food prices. Now, if COVID rises and food gets scarce, maybe, but, like, I wouldn't bet on NTR ripping Now, is 150 the number? 120? I don't know. It's only up, less than 1% today. And it should be up more if this inflation news is that bad. Like, I don't know. I don't know if it's... I don't think food inflation is going to be able to do that. Amit, didn't you say what you like about those high school girls as you keep getting older, but they stay... Jacob, I'm not even going to respond to that. That's crazy. Amit started up IPO today. Could you imagine if you were a CEO of a company and you made it public? The one bad part about IPOing or CEOing, of like being the CEO of a public company, is you can't say anything. Like literally, you can't say anything. Palantir back up about $13, and that sucks, right? Like so, like I have a startup right now, and I always debate myself like, yo, like would I want it to go public or would I want it to like sell? And obviously I'm being very naive here, just even imagining I could take the startup public, because that's a very hard thing to do. But like I asked myself, if that were to happen, would I want to go public? And I'm always like, I love talking, and when you're public, every last syllable you say has to be in the interest of public shareholders, and that's what the SEC, and and then you look at someone like Elon, which obviously defies that philosophy, but Elon is Elon. Like most CEOs can't get away with that because they're not Elon at the end of the day. So, I don't know. Being the CEO of a public company wouldn't be that fun if you can't say anything. The announcement is you are selling those images from that special laptop on your Patreon. By the way, we have 126 people in the chat. Can some people join the freaking Patreon, man? It's $5 a month if you get value out of the content. It's $60 a year. It's a fun Discord. We haven't had anyone join in about a week. There's about 50 people. It's fun. It's in the description. I would recommend joining for a month, and if you get value out of it, if you like the people that you meet, stay. If you don't, then you can leave. It's just that simple. But if you get any value from the content, again, it really helps me do the channel, because YouTube ad revenue is not what you guys think it is. It's not a lot of money, especially not enough to live off of. So appreciate anyone who joins the Patreon. If you are owner, sell, but going public is much better as an employee. Yeah, like the other thing is like Bezos is not actually worth $100 billion or whatever, or like $200 billion. Because if he were to liquidate and actually have that much cash in the bank, by the time he's done selling like a couple million shares, and he has probably like 100 million shares or something, or like in the tens of millions of shares, people would sell the crap out of Amazon. That's the problem with being a public CEO. Like, your wealth is contingent on stock price, and if you sell, no one else is going to keep the stock. Like, if Elon sells 20 million shares tomorrow, I don't think Dave Lee is keeping his position as high as it is, because he's like, well, if Elon's selling, why should I sell? Why should I keep it, right? So, like, all that wealth is on paper. But you can only get to those astronomical levels of wealth if you take a company public. If you sell for like a couple hundred million, you actually have a couple hundred million in the bank. And that's the difference between public company and anything else. I'll join the Patreon if you line up the bricks. Oh man, these bricks have been like this for a long time. I don't know if I can. Like, I just don't know if I could change this. I did this on my own in December when I was struggling, when I had less than 1,000 subs on YouTube. I just needed to pump out videos, and I just needed a background. I was like, screw it. Let me just get a quick background real quickly. But I'm working on a better background eventually. It's just not in the works yet. All right, it's 10 o'clock. I think I should name the special announcement. I'll join only if you do old movie reaction. We actually talk about movies there. I was watching The Dark Knight last night because, like, it's on Netflix, and every time it's on Netflix, I'm like, I just gotta, like, click on it. And every time you watch the movie, it's like, it's one of those movies that's, like, it's up there as, like, one of the best movies of all time. Amit is going to be the Dave Lee of Palantir. Hopefully, but Palantir's got to run. I mean, it's hard to be the Dave Lee of... remember, guys, Dave Lee didn't become Dave Lee without Tesla going crazy. You got to remember that. And that's all love and respect to Dave. But if Tesla doesn't have that insane run-up, people just wouldn't be that interested in Tesla. And Dave Lee, obviously, his communication skills, his videos are amazing on Tesla. But the stock has to go up. Like, so, as much as I love Palantir, unless the stock price goes up, it's going to be hard to generate the level of views that, like, a Dave Lee gets on Tesla. And that's why I want to diversify. That's why I want to talk about other stuff on the channel as well. All right, time for the announcement. Let me make the announcement, even though it's not ready yet. All right, are you guys ready? The announcement is The announcement is that, and first of all, thank you for 123 people being here. I appreciate all of you spending your morning with me and actually checking it out. All right, actually it's live. We're about to show you the announcement. It's time. Are you guys ready? All right, so the announcement is, boom. Can you guys see this? I am the new host of Money Talks. Woo! All right, I need everyone to go to Money Talks and comment, Amit is legit, or don't fire Amit. Something funny with Amit. We're going to watch this episode together for the next 30 minutes because I think it'll be a fun episode to watch. And it was the first day. I don't think I did the best, but I'm going to get better hopefully over the next couple of days, and it's going to be fun. This is a fun thing for me. This is an awesome opportunity, I think, to host a really, really dope show where I think the show has massive levels of potential, and it's going to be fun to kind of watch this over the long term get big. I think this show can really grow. I think it has potential to be big. I think it can be one of the premier stock investing shows on YouTube because it's different than a lot of the other shows that exist. And as a result, I think it's going to be fun to watch it grow over time. So Crossroads asks, is it permanent? Yeah, it's permanent as of now. I mean, I'm going to be here for the next week, and the way it goes, it's likely going to be a full-time role. I mean, we're testing it. So I'm going to be there tomorrow. I'm going to be there Thursday. We're going to see how it goes. As long as the comments don't literally hate it. It should be good. Now, the logic behind this before we get into the show primarily was that I think if you are a fan of the show, you saw that Justin has a lot of responsibility setting up the topics in the show, which kind of sucks, right? Because like he's supposed to just be talent and supposed to be able to like give his perspectives, but he has to control Tom. He has to control the flow of the conversation. He has to control the bringing up of the topics. So the idea was if we can get someone to just do that and like be able to capture on the fun moments in the show like a real host is supposed to do, right? The host is not supposed to inject their opinions into the debate, which is why it's not my show. I'm not going to be giving my perspectives because like I'm not the talent, but I am going to be moderating the show to make sure that it's more smooth, more cohesive. We get through the topics in a better way, and that it's more fun. It's more, exciting. You got to have someone that's able to wake everybody up at 9 a.m. in the morning before they have their coffee to get things rolling. So super excited. We're going to watch it together. I hope you guys enjoy it. And also, I mean, it's a great opportunity for me. I mean, Justin, he's like 32 years old. He's been a CFO before. His channel, 100,000 subscribers. Tom, obviously, I mean, I put him up there with like Kevin and Graham and Jeremy, even though he's smaller than them from subscriber count. He's a big personality on YouTube. I'm just this guy that has 11,000 subs on YouTube and talks about Palantir, and I'm trying to also make it in this media content world. So it's a massive opportunity for me to be on the show, and very excited to host it. And I think I could be a decent host. I mean, and we're gonna see over the next couple episodes how it goes, and keep going from there. So would appreciate if everyone comments on the show. Amit is legit. He doesn't quit, or don't fire Amit because he's legit. Let's type don't fire Amit because he's legit. Let's just spam the crap out of the comments on that. And without further ado, for the next 28 minutes, I'm gonna shut up and we're gonna watch this show together. I might pause it in between to give some of my perspectives, but it was a really fun show, and I'm excited to watch it because I haven't watched it yet. Now my camera's a little blurry, unfortunately. We're gonna get that fixed out over the next couple of days, but yeah, thank you guys so much. Excited for this. Going to be a very fun show, and enjoy the next 30 minutes of the new Money Talks. The shirt may be crazy. Welcome back to Money Talks, where the shirt may be crazy, but this threesome will be on your screen every day because we're anything but lazy. My name is Amit, your new unofficial host, all the way from the East Coast, here to moderate a little bit of the mess when the boys start talking about toast. Toast being bread, bread being money, talking toast, money talks. You guys get why I'm here. Today, we're gonna get into a couple of topics. 1, our hot takes. 2, Charlie Munger reducing his Alibaba position by over 50%. Was Tom right? 3, crazy inflation numbers and what can we do to actually stop inflation? And finally, Apple making a profit off WeWork 5 years after their investment. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right, everyone. Welcome back to Money Talks. Boys, the board of directors at the show, they came to me. They sent me a very private email. They said, look, we've got some things going on. We want the show to be a little bit more better. We want to moderate some of the mess that happens during topics. And we think you and your crazy shirts would be an awesome addition. So I'm happy to be here. And let's get into some hot takes today.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Tom, you're up first. What is your hot take today? I know it has to deal with your new grandpa's Twitter account. Let's hear it. What you got?
So I want to take this. I know you guys expect me to be funny and all, but I want to be serious for a moment. This is going to be a serious hot take. I want to apologize for Gordon L. Johnson. My grandpa accidentally thought that you're a woman when he tweeted, who is this lady hating on Mr. Tesla? So I just want to apologize on behalf of my grandpa. If you want to follow him, don't follow him for these mistakes. Follow him for the stories about how he got off the train to pee. Some watermelon salesman asked him to replace him for a minute, and then he stayed there for 2 years working as a watermelon salesman. Don't follow him for the mistakes. No hate towards Gordon, or Mr. Tesla.
Nice.
And Tom, just to confirm, this is your grandfather tweeting, correct?
Yes, this is not a parody account.
I doubt that. We'll see.
All right, Justin, what's your hot take?
All right.
I wish this was a parody.
I'm going to take a little bit of my time today on my hot take to just actually apologize, or at least stand corrected a little bit, at least halfway. Yesterday we talked about Twitter, and I had brought up one point about how like the founding fathers usually wrote under their own names and not pseudonyms. But I got a few comments actually correcting me how the Federalist Papers were published under Publius, and there's been a long history of people publishing under pseudonyms. So I stand corrected there. I do think, though, I will still stand by my gut point was that even though people, published under their own names more often back then during the printing press times and under pseudonyms, I think we had a little bit more civility back then. So I think that my main point was, is there a way we can bring civility back to the internet? And then my actually hotter take for the day, as more of a clarifying point, is actually at Tom, who's burping in the mic right now.
Yeah, Tom,
burping in the mic right now.
First of all, can you be nicer, please?
Tom,
go ahead, Justin.
Tom, you make fun of me driving a Jeep Gladiator, which I think is the perfect hybrid of a Wrangler and a truck.
This is a perfect hybrid of an idiot and a moron.
What do you drive? You cannot throw stones when we do not know what you drive yourself. So what are you driving over there? Are you driving a Lada? Are you driving a Fiat? What are you driving? So I don't consider any insult from you until you reveal your own car.
It's not a secret. Everybody knows. I drive a 1986 Lada Niva. It's a 4x4.
No. Jokes aside, I want a picture. Send a selfie of you.
It has no electronics. You can just pull it up. It's easy.
Send a selfie. I'll send a selfie today with me and my Gladiator.
No problem, bro.
See, I don't know if I can believe you.
I'll send you a selfie of me naked in my Lada Niva 1986. It has nothing electronic.
Send a selfie.
Not even power windows. Nothing.
Okay, everyone put in the comments.
Piece of technology it has is mud flaps on the back tires.
Yeah, I don't believe you. I don't believe that. I don't believe you.
It's a beast of a car, bro.
I need a selfie.
I'll take any challenger, any 4x4, including your trash ass Gladiator, against this Lada Niva. You got no chance, buddy.
HR is not going to appreciate the naked selfie in the car, so we're gonna move on to our first
HR
topic.
can suck my garage.
We're gonna move on to our first topic of the day because someone who was driving on a road decided that he needed to make a U-turn and go back to where he came from, at least 50% of the way. We're talking about Charlie Munger driving on the road of Alibaba, decided yesterday after SEC filing showed that he has seemingly reduced 50% of his stake in Alibaba. Now, there's some controversy over if those are new shares or if he completely sold those shares, but nonetheless, he has changed his stake by 50% in some way. Tom, what is your take on Munger maybe deciding that you were right all along?
So first of all, I'm happy to talk again about the Titanic of online retail stocks, Alibaba. Its correlation -1 to Tesla. The perfect people stock versus the worst people stock. I will be completely frank here. There are many reasons to sell a stock. unlike buying a stock. So maybe there's a conversion going on. Maybe Munger is selling these stocks instead of VIEs. He's buying actual BABA stocks on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. Maybe he's doing some tax harvesting, although it's kind of early in the year to do that. We don't know. But the facts are, as we know them today, he bought 300,000 shares at the end of last year, just a few months ago, at about 150, 160 bucks, or even more. Now he sold them at about 100. So those are the facts we know so far. Also, we know that just a month ago, he stepped down as the Daily Journal's chairman of the board. So he steps down. A month later, they sell half of his shit. So the question is, number one, did his Baba down, like when he doubled down on Baba, cost him his job as the chairman of the board of DJCO? I don't know. For me, it seems kind of simple. Baba Bulls and the Baba Boys has been waving Munger around like a freaking ragdoll. Oh, look at Charlie Munger, Baba evangelist. Fact of the matter is, look, I think what happened here is quite simple. I think whether it's him or his lieutenants or whoever, they saw what happened with Russia. They got a glimpse at what happens, what kind of geopolitical risks can heavily impact companies that are in jurisdictions like China and Russia, and they got scared. Essentially, think about it. If you're investing in Baba, Alibaba is a direct investment into the Chinese government. Would you invest in the Chinese government?
Justin, what is your thoughts on Charlie Munger reducing his stake?
Yeah, I think I'd just add, because I think Tom and I were both in agreement on this one. So, we don't know if we were right, in terms of him selling at a loss, but pretty sure that he's selling some at a loss, right? So kind of right so far. The only thing I'll add is that I grew up and started my career out like a value investor, Buffettite, Berkshire Hathaway Letters, Oracle of Omaha, which I still very much respect Berkshire Hathaway. I love Warren Buffett. And I think one thing that this shows us, right, is that we need to think from first principles, which I think a lot of people are parroting these days, but also just think as your own individual intellectual yourself, right? Do not just blindly follow folks. And that includes our favorite boy, Elon Musk, right? Which is a little different because we believe in him as an operator, but tomorrow he could get hit by a bus and like your investment's going kaplooey, right? So in a certain way, we should not be very, very dogmatic and cult-like in following our own herd, right? Because there's a whole faction of investors that poo-poo growth investors and poo-poo Teslaites and poo-poo Bitcoin and poo-poo everything because they just love value investing, good companies at a fair price, and like we love the reinsurance business and railroads, right? So in that
Remember
sense,
what Thiel said about him? Yeah. Oh, not about him, about his boyfriend.
Yeah. So just to finish that thought is when the Buffettites were really stroking themselves to Munger buying Alibaba, Tom and I were like very, very specific. Like, no, we don't like China. We don't like Baba. Why wouldn't you just buy Amazon? And also, it goes against even what Buffett said: invest in America, not in China. So don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So and they didn't have all the information either. So,
look, investing in companies like Aramco or Alibaba is direct investments into the country because there's I guess Aramco is even more, but it's such a top-heavy investment. You have to believe in the country and in the regime. So for me, investing in Alibaba means that you're openly glorifying the Chinese communist dictatorship, which is a piece of shit move by definition. So that's just straight out there. If you don't like it, deal with it. Look, beyond the fact that as a rational person, a Chinese VIE, which is exactly what you're holding as a Baba stock through the US stock exchange, a Chinese VIE is nothing more than a freaking NFT, which you can't even control. It's like a downgrade from an NFT. It's like a fart. God.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie. When he said a VEI structure is an NFT, I actually died I was like, what, bro? Like, how did you just think of that just now? I was like, what is going on here? All right, let's get back to the show. When he said that though, I was just like, what is this?
Jesus, the CCP said a month ago, "Oh, we'll behave, we'll be compliant." whether you believe them or not, it's a long freaking way from saying it until actually fucking doing it. I haven't seen them do diggly squat except just yappity yaps talk about how they're going to comply. I mean, look, whatever you think about Baba or me, whether you like my style or not, the question is, can we get a freaking explanation from Munger what the fuck happened? Because until he explains, I'm going to assume he sold half at half the price. So, fuck you.
A VIE becoming an NFT, that quote I think needs to become an NFT itself. And picking up on Justin's point, if you had followed Cathie Wood blindly or Charlie Munger blindly over the past 12 months, you would have lost a lot of money. So I think it does make a lot of sense to be an independent tinker and actually think for yourself when you're making stock investment decisions. Now, next
or
topic.
Tom Nash.
Or you can be
You would have lost half of your shit on Palantir.
That's true. You should not have folled Tom Nash.
You got to give him credit, man. You got to give him credit for taking shots at himself. Well, that's why we love you,
Did
Tom.
I just dry snitch on myself? Did I just Masvidal myself?
Well, it looks like Justin's been right about Palantir and not buying over the past couple weeks because
We'll see.
We'll see. Inflation. Inflation is expected to come in at 8.4%. Jen Psaki, the White House press secretary, yesterday in her annual or her everyday press secretary meeting said, look, Russia, this war, you can't blame us. It's not about spending. It's them. It's not us. It's not me. It's you. And inflation is coming up. What are your perspectives on how we get out of this inflation mess? And what do you think it's going to do to the stock market over the next 6 months? Let's start off with Justin.
Yeah, I mean, I think 8.5 is the number that we are going in expecting. I do want to caution people, which I know I get a lot of hate for being, the reasonable voice in the room, is that we are still lapping like pre-hot numbers. I think where I'm really, really, really interested in is, am I going to lose my hair to my bet with Tom, where we start
Can you
lapping.
remind him about the bet?
Yeah, what's the bet?
So so we bet on an early episode of this show that December inflation, December 2022, year over year from December 2021, would be over or under 5.5%. And I remember, so Tom took the over, I took the under. And this was before Russia invaded Ukraine, or before even that was even a thing. So I think, I was trending to have won that, but now that Russia invaded, the supply chain's even more screwed up, and we might, actually see it year over year. Anyway, but that's actually I think more important than, we can all freak out about the headline numbers in February, March, April, but we're lapping low baseline numbers from 2021. Where it's going to get super interesting is if we have runaway inflation in Q4, lapping high inflation numbers in Q4 of last year. So I think it's still very important, and it really sucks, and everything's going up.
The numbers are out, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, they are.
Oh, they are out.
It's 8.5%.
Yeah. So right at expectations.
Yeah, just a smudge above. I think 8.4 was the expectation. So just a hair above 8.5.
Tom, what's your take on inflation and how is it?
So first of all, we have a headline for the show, 8.5. Yeah, look, we kind of saw this coming. There's not a lot of surprises here, right? We all knew that this is going to happen. Surprise, surprise. We just saw a proof that when you print 40% of the US dollar in a single year, it causes inflation. Print more money, cause more inflation. The brainiacs at the Fed did not think about this. It's kind of basic. Look, whether you think that the money supply is to blame or supply chain, I don't know why would you think the latter, but it is what it is. The fact is we're looking at down the barrel of the worst inflation we had since 1981. I was not clear why Justin took that bet. We are right now with the 8.5%. We're 13 months, consecutive 13 months where we are above the benchmark of the 2%. It's going to be ugly. Look, we've been saying this, Justin and I, for a while. Russia, oil prices, gas prices, energy in general, China locking down, supply
Tom and
chain.
Justin, let me put this out there. Growth stocks are already down almost 70 to 80% from where they've been down. Do you think, even with rising inflation and obviously growing interest rate hikes, they can still go lower?
Yes. For sure. There's not even a question. Look, I wasn't even done with the fuckery stuff. Supply chain interruptions. We have wage growth insanity. Walmart is giving 120 grand for truck drivers to just come in and take a job. Not to mention we have unfilled positions at jobs nobody wants to fulfill. I mean, obviously, Putin is to blame for this. Putin did this. If you ask the Biden administration, I think it's clear. Like, there's two facts we know. Putin isn't to blame for this, and this is not transitory. And unless transitory means 5 years. Look, the question is there a way out of this? And I will refer this to Justin, then I'll give my 2 cents if there's a way out of this.
Yeah, I mean, to your original question, can we go lower, especially on tech stocks? The answer is yes.
Oh, yeah.
I think a lot of tech stocks are getting reasonable to start buying in, but everybody has to zoom out, right? I don't necessarily think this is a stock picker's market anymore. I think this is a macro market. And
can you explain the difference between stock pickers and macro market?
So to me, I define a stock picker's market as either, a small bull market or a small grinding sideways market. A boring market is a stock picker's market, in my opinion. That's a good one because you don't have to worry about like Russia coming in and nuking the world, right? Like interest rates are relatively stable or moving in a certain stable trend, and we can just pick the outperformers. And so a stock picker's market, a classic hedge fund is net neutral. They're long and then short a bunch of stocks, and they just bet on the spread of this company's going to do better and this company's going to do worse. So I'm long this one and short this one, and I generate alpha, right? That's what I think like a stock picker's market is versus a macro market is the Fed is taking sledgehammers to the walls. Putin is taking sledgehammers to your door. China's taking sledgehammers to your roof, and Biden's asleep in the bedroom. And so what does it matter if I'm picking a vase or picking a couch inside the house? I don't even know if the house is going to be there tomorrow. Right. So I think like we need to just realize the Fed is driving the market, inflation is driving the market, and macroeconomic effects are driving the market. And so can growth stocks get worse? Yes. But the question is, you have like at this point, it's a more important thing to predict or have a view on if we're going to head into stagflation, if we're going to head into runaway inflation, or even a recession in the next 20 months. And that's going to affect things way more than being like, oh, like Asana is going to outperform like Atlassian.
Right.
The thing is, like, if you're in this the question is, ask yourself, am I in the market for a short to medium term kind of a swing trade position, or am I investing for my pension? If the answer, I guess, is the first option, this is really a very shaky time to be in the market because, as Justin said, we're headed into massive uncertainty. So in the short term, there might be crazy spikes, but long term, how would we get out of this? Until I see a viable solution from the government as far as the ability of the Fed to raise interest rates, we're not even at the stage where we can actually raise interest rates beyond 0.5, 0.6, 2%. We're pretty much stuck. So it's a really shitty situation.
All right, so we're going to continue with the show, but just want to talk on the inflation thing real quick. It's really interesting, man. Like, is a recession inevitable? Put in the chat, do you think a recession is inevitable in the next 20 months or 12 months? If inflation keeps rising, even if it's, core inflation is decreasing, is there a world in which growth stocks get hammered, the Fed has to go crazy on interest rate hikes, and that has to cause a recession? I think the Fed thinks that there needs to be a recession. Like, we need to get the S&P to 3,800 for things to get normal, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's a very interesting discussion that we had today on the show, and I guess we'll see overall what happens. All right, last topic of the day. It's WeWork. This is a fun one. If any of you guys watch this WeCrash stuff, you guys are going to enjoy this topic.
Yeah, until we see a solution, we're going to have more inflation, and we probably will, within the next 12 to 24 months, will experience a significant recession, for sure.
Well, there is one company that did not need a recession, interest rates, or inflation for its valuation to be cut by pretty much more than 80 to 90%. And that company is WeWork, which is our last topic for the day. WeWork, at the height of its valuation bubble, was valued at $47 billion, and today has a market cap of $4 billion after going public via a SPAC. Now, the interesting thing for why WeWork is in the news again is because Apple's TV streaming option that they're trying to compete with Netflix and Hulu on just made a new documentary show called We Crash that documents the rise and fall of WeWork's epic crash. And the interesting thing about this is Apple invested $100 million into SoftBank, and the Vision Fund, which is a Japanese bank that dedicated $100 billion to high growth tech companies. Their $100 million funded part of WeWork because SoftBank's Masayoshi Son gave Adam Neumann, the CEO of WeWork, $4.4 billion after 5 minutes inside of his New York City office. This meeting was epic, and basically Adam told Masayoshi Son that they want to make the entire world more connected through like buying real estate and having people rent out real estate rooms in these buildings. And Masayoshi Son told him to think bigger and gave him $4.4 billion after 5 minutes. Adam Neumann, who had a tendency to drink and smoke and buy private jets with the company's money, took those $4.4 billion and threw it down the drain, ultimately leaving as CEO because the board ended up firing him. So here's the first question. Is Apple's documentation of the show, which is a phenomenal way to document the show, and they're making actually a lot of money, they're getting a lot of more subscribers off of it, their first push into the streaming wars? Tom, we'll start with you.
It's an interesting concept. I don't know what Apple is doing with the streaming service. They're trying to compete with the losing business by definition. So the whole streaming market is in shambles. It's kind of a loss generating business where you're just chasing client acquisition. So we have Netflix and Disney pretty much at the lead of this. They haven't figured out exactly how they're going to make money long term off of this. And they're in a much better position than Apple because Apple don't have IP. I mean, what kind of IP they have? This would be a good start. And actually, I like the idea of creating a lemonade out of the lemons. They just took one of the worst cases and just make some money off of it. Why not? I like the concept, but as far as the story that you shared, I think the story is mind blowing. Imagine how easy it is to get funding for an idea that basically is, as stupid as buying a gladiator. It's just insane.
Have you ever convinced someone to give you that much money? Not that much money, but money for an idea. That's insane. $4 billion.
It's easier to get more money than, if you come up with a crazy valuation, I think it's easier to get more money. Look, as far as, I'll just add a few things about WeWork itself. As far as the company still exists, but it's not just Adam Neumann's over-exaggerations. It's not just that they were not what they seem to be. The problem is also, look, the pandemic is pretty much kicked them in the nuts. So they're already down for the count. And then the pandemic came in and just stomped their head in. So this company is, they're done. Put a fork in them. As far as it's great content, though.
Justin, before you give your take, here's a question to kind of start off your analysis on this. Could a real estate company ever be valued like a tech company? Or do you think the valuation was always overblown because WeWork never had technology? They only had office space.
Yeah, no, I from the very beginning, before I even made content online, I was talking about this. I've been a vocal person against valuing brick and mortar companies as anything but. Right. And I think I was an early customer of WeWork in New York City. I thought it was a great product. I think it still is a great product. I think it's a viable company at its core. Now, the financing has messed that up clearly, right? You can succeed as a product and overfinance the company and kill the company, which might happen here. I think that at the end of the day, it was rental arbitrage. They take long-term leases from big landlords and then gussy them up to be very millennial, and then rent it out in short-term, smaller leases, and they make a spread on that, basically,
right,
minus operating costs. Now, they even did community-adjusted EBITDA, right? So when they do that, it's really hard to even see profitability because they have to run the things. They have to buy cold brew and kombucha for us who work in there. And so it was never, it was marginable. It probably would be profitable with I guess lower capex. But at the end of the day, if it was ever successful, the big landlords like Empire State Realty Trust or any of these big REITs, they would have just copied them because it's not that hard. And guess what the barrier to entry here is? The barrier to entry to real estate is the land and the building, and not like, you know, company culture. So you see like Regis, you see Spaces, you see all those companies coming out, and they're all from legacy landlords already that just basically ripped off the model, and they let them. I mean, yeah, I think it's a good business, but it's not a multi-billion-dollar business, and they're going to struggle. And we should never buy into the hype of things that parade as SaaS, software as a service, when they're not.
You want to guess how much money they lost over the past 3 years? I'm going to give you one guess.
I haven't looked in their financials in a long time. I don't even have a guess.
They lost over $13 billion in 3 years.
I was gonna say 10 billion. Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's one hell of a way to get connected. The dude got connected with a lot of money and then got disconnected from the company. Took his money with him and left.
I will add, I do think that like SoftBank's reputation has gone up and then down and then up and then down. It's so interesting to me that like that guy and SoftBank, because I think people think about SoftBank now and they're like, oh, they're dumb money. But at certain points, like, didn't they make a ton of money on options?
They gave Jack Ma $20 million in 1999, and that turned into 120 billion, which is what got them the revenue.
Yeah, so I feel like they get smacked reputationally worse on the downside than they do on the upside. And if we check back in on them, they might have still made a net really great return on all their investments. I'm not really sure, but put in the comments below like what your thoughts are on SoftBank, and two, are they successful? Because at a certain point, I think they made a ton of money trading the meme stocks with options. Like, it's a weird entity.
Plus, without all the PR nightmare, it's just another Nicholas story. I mean, there's plenty of those every year of the vaporware. It's just the PR and the CEO, the flamboyance, the weed, and the private jets.
Yeah,
it almost
barefoot.
like it was a little Elizabeth Holmes-esque. You know what I mean? It was a cool story.
Yeah,
that's why they got so much flack.
Yeah.
Well, even though SoftBank is soft, we hope that us three on the screen definitely made you hard this morning. Thank you guys for watching the first episode of Money Talks with your unofficial host, Amit. I might be back tomorrow, and we'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, press hire or fire in the comments below.
Hire or fire. I like it. Hire or fire. Let's do this. So let the audience decide.
All right. Bye-bye, guys.
Okay. Don't follow Grandpa on Twitter. Okay, while we wait for Amit, I'm gonna sing for you guys.
No, mute him.
You ready for this?
No, mute. You're on mute. This is great. I can mute him. Oh my God. Come on, Grace. You missed us.
Is he not singing? Is he
No,
like
he's
lip
not
syncing?
singing. We didn't mute him.
Boom! There it is. That was fun, man. I love show business, bro. Like, I fucking love it. It's fun. It's exciting. Every day you wake up, what's the show? What's the thumbnail? What's the title? What's the topics? What's the transitions? What's the segues? What's the ideas? How do you make this shit fun? How do you make it exciting? How do you get people to care? It's fucking creative. I love this shit. It's fun. So big shout out to Tom and Justin for the opportunity. Really appreciate it. Hopefully, the audience likes it. Obviously, if the audience doesn't like it, then maybe we don't have a host. But I think I think the audience might like it. I think over the next couple episodes, we'll see. I'm seeing the early comments on the episode, and a lot of people are enjoying it. So I think it'll be fun. Awesome opportunity for me. Obviously, a lot of upside for me, and I really enjoy it. I also think I think I have the personality to really do it well on the show, which is why I thought I would be a good fit. If I didn't think I would be a good fit, I wouldn't have wanted to be on the show. But I think that I could be a good fit. I think it definitely relieves the pressure off Justin. I mean, just watching it back, I'm a big fan of the show. I watch it every day, and Justin sometimes struggles to have to deal with a lot of stuff, because managing a show is one thing, and then having a perspective is another thing. Like, the perspective is the value proposition of the show. If your perspective sucks, people don't want to listen to you. But like, to have time to think about a perspective and then like stop someone when they're talking and then cut in between and then transition, it's a lot of work, especially when you're on camera and you know that thousands of people are listening and watching every movement you make. Like, it is a lot of pressure. So I do think it will relieve some pressure and hopefully add some more entertaining value without taking away from Justin and Tom, because again, my take is not that important here. I'm just like creating the conversation and chiming in a little bit, but ultimately these two guys are the guys that are going at it every day. So the edit at the end was really funny. So basically, I had to switch my Wi-Fi, right? That's why you saw me paused. And Tom was singing in between, but instead of singing, he was like lip syncing. And I was just like, "What the fuck? Like, is this guy like? What is this? What's this guy doing? Like, why is he like? Why is he just like saying stuff, but there's no volume coming out?" So that was fun. Everyone's saying higher in the chat. I appreciate it. It was fun. You know, it's cool, man, because like this show is on average getting like, you'd say 15, 17,000 views an episode. I think there's no reason it can't get 100. Like, I just really don't. And it's cool. You know, it's super, super cool. Because again, I just don't think another show like this exists on YouTube, where it's very ESPN debate show. If you look at First Take or Undisputed, which are the biggest sports debating shows on Fox and ESPN, they're getting like over 1 million views on YouTube alone. And that's not even the TV networks ratings that they're syndicated on, which is probably, you know, bringing in another 500,000-600,000. The clips of those shows are going viral. Now, sports is way bigger than stocks. Okay, so like there's always going to be a bigger audience for like knowing about LeBron over like Charlie Munger. But I think stocks is big enough and the attention is growing enough to still justify a pretty sizable audience on the show. And it's just about growth and expansion, you know? So I think there's a lot of people that care about stocks. A lot of people care about these topics. I mean, if you have stock YouTubers that can get 100,000 per video, there's no reason why a fully produced show can't do that as well. So super, super dope. Thank you guys so much for checking it out. Chris says WeWork shouldn't have been a tech company or valued as one. I agree. I think WeWork could have done well as like just a real estate company like Regis. With their whole like millennial branding and stuff. The technology stuff was where the valuation got too high, and that's what SoftBank didn't realize as well. I hope you guys like the little pun at the end about being hard. Hopefully it just see that's why I think I could also be a good host, because like this shit just comes to me randomly and I'm like, okay, this will be good to execute, and then I execute it and I say it, and not every time it sticks, but sometimes it does, and when it does, it's like it's a good, you know, it's a good I don't know, it's just good, it's good wordplay that makes the show more exciting. So I think it was good. Love your show, but would like less profanity. That is not on me, Kimberly. That is on the boss of the show, and I have no authority to tell the boss to change how he speaks on the show. So and if boss saw that, he would probably say fuck you. Unfortunately, that's just how boss operates. He loves his profanity. Thank you guys so much. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel. That channel is now, you know, a big part of my life as I'm hosting the show. Hope you guys enjoy it. Comment under it. Amit is legit. Don't fire Amit. And I hope you guys enjoy the show. And yeah, we're gonna try it out over the next week, see if the response is good, and we'll see if we keep going. And it'll be fun if we get to build this thing and make it dope. I must admit, Amit was good. I appreciate that, RK. I think it'll be cool. Again, the way I think about it from a logical perspective is relieving the talent from having to do the work of hosting, which is it's so funny. The reason this is the last thing I'll say, what Tom and Justin are doing is something I tried to do with my friend David, one of my best friends, not in the stocks niche, but in the pop culture niche, because like you guys see me now on YouTube at 24, but from 20 to 23, I was experimenting a lot with content. And one of those experimentations was like a pop culture debate show, right? Because again, you know, I'm just fucking creative and I get these ideas and I try to execute them. And we did that for a year. It never took off for a lot of reasons. But one of the hardest parts was managing it, actually having segments, transitioning, actually controlling the takes, actually having my own takes and introducing when I saw their show, I was just like, I've been through the same struggles. I know how difficult it is And I think that a host could genuinely relieve some pressure and add personality to the show. So it'll be fun. It'll be exciting. Things come full circle sometimes. You know, I tried to do this on my own with my friend 2 years ago before I even knew who Tom was or Justin was. And you just never quit if you're creative. I believe in that. You keep going. And eventually, you know, you might get some opportunities in the future where it's time for your skill set to shine. And like these intros and stuff, right? Like the wordplay and all this shit. I was doing that 2 years ago on my show with my friend, right? And that's why it's so funny, because like when I was doing the wordplay with my friend and like opening intros, I gotta show you guys the videos of this one day, because these videos are on an old YouTube channel. I'm gonna show it one day. Like I was doing the same fucking wordplay, the same fun stuff, the same like I gotta like get punchlines and all that stuff. It just wasn't in the right show because like that just wasn't the time for it. So the same skill sets a year, 2 years later are now being applied in a different medium that I think makes sense. So it's gonna be fun. Amish got fresh edge up. Definitely went on a date yesterday. No dates for me. I'm building. I got shit to do. I got work to do. So no dates yet. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. It means a lot. I will see you guys tomorrow. I'm going to try to put out a video today, but my throat is like, it's at a different level, and it's really hard to talk, as you guys can see. So going to try to get some rest, but going to keep things going. Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate everyone for tuning in. Check out the new episode, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.